Now, let's take a look at this multiple choice section. We see 5 questions here, 21 through 25, and the title, Research Project on Attitudes Towards Study. We can see this is section 3, starting with 21. So this must be a conversation between probably a student and a teacher. Okay, the student's name is Phoebe. So Phoebe, let's look for 21. We're looking, first of all, for key words that will help us to follow along with the listening. Okay, so first we've got main reason for choosing her topic. Then main research question. Surprised for number 23. And 24, she has learned. And also regarding teaching. So we're changing the focus here into teaching. She has learned what? And Tony is impressed by some kind of ability. Okay, Phoebe's ability to do something. All right. Now, with multiple choice, there won't be as much paraphrasing for these keywords, so we should be able to hear them almost exactly as they are written here. All right. If you have a little bit of extra time, you can start to look through and sort of check and at least try to read the different options. So let's take a moment to read. Her classmates had been very interested in it. It would help her prepare for her first teaching post. She had been inspired by a book. Okay, so we can maybe see a couple keywords: classmates, teaching post, book. 22, teacher discipline, a variety of learning activities, and confidence, pupil confidence. 23, let's see, it's about boys and girls, so we have gender did not influence, so no effect. Right? Girls more negative than boys, and boys more talkative than girls. Now 24, regarding teachers, flexible, okay, in their lesson planning. We have brighter children supporting weaker children. And children vary from each other in unpredictable ways. We might hear that word, unpredictable. 25, let's see, recognize the limitations of such small-scale research. Small scale. B, let's see, reflect on her own research experience in an interesting way. Reflect on her own research experience. And C, minimize difficulties. Now, the reason that we focus on the keywords in the, what we call the stem of the question first, okay, is because they're much, much more important. The keywords in the options, A, B, and C, the question options or the answer options, many times they are just traps. Right? We might hear the word teaching post, but maybe the answer is A. Okay, for multiple choice, the key is to listen along and try to find the answer as you are listening. Okay, it takes practice, but if you want to reach that band 9 level, you need to do more than just kind of keyword listening. You can't be tricked by some of these keywords. The most important keywords come from the question stem. Focus on that first. Now, let's go ahead and move on and listen to the script. So we're going to listen to the dialogue between Phoebe and, looks like Tony is the other person's name. So let's listen and try to answer these questions correctly, 21 to 25.
So, how did you get on with your school-based research, Phoebe?
Well, it was exhausting, but really valuable.
Good. What was the specific focus you chose?
My title is Attitudes Towards Study Among 11 to 12-year-old Pupils.
Right, and what made you choose that focus?
Well, that's a bit difficult. Lots of my classmates decided on their focus really early on, mainly on the basis of what they thought would help in their future career, in their first year's teaching.
So that's what helped you decide?
Actually, it was that I came across a book written by experienced teachers on student attitudes, and that motivated me to go for the topic.
Okay. So what were your research questions or issues?
Well, I wanted to look at the ways students responded to different teachers, particularly focusing on whether very strict teachers made teenagers less motivated.
And from your research, did you find that was true?
No, not from what I saw, from my 5 days observation, talking to people and so forth.
Okay. We'll talk about the actual research methods in a moment, but before that, can you briefly summarize what your most striking findings are?
Well, what really amazed me was the significant gender differences. I didn't set out to focus on that, but I found that boys were much more positive about being at school. Girls were more impatient. They talked a lot about wanting to grow up and leave school.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. From doing the research, it was clear to me that you might start out to focus on one thing, but you pick up lots of unexpected insights.
Right. Did you get any insights into teaching?
Yes, certainly. I was doing a lot of observations of the way kids with very different abilities collaborate on certain tasks, help each other. And I began to realise that the lessons were developing in really unexpected ways.
So what conclusion do you draw from that?
Well, I know it's necessary for teachers to prepare lessons carefully, but it's great if they also allow lessons to go their own ways.
Good point. Now, I'm really pleased to see you doing this. Analysing and drawing conclusions based on data.
But surely this isn't proper data.
Because it's derived from such small-scale research. Well, as long as you don't make grand claims for your findings, this data is entirely valid. I like the way you're already stepping back from the experience and thinking about what you've learned about research. Well done.
But I know I could have done it better.
As you become more experienced, you'll find ways to reduce the risk of difficulties.
Okay.
So let's start with 21. We're looking for the main reason. All right, and we get it right here. What made you choose that focus? Now let's see where our answer appears. Well, that's a bit difficult. Lots of my classmates decided on their focus really early on. So again, we see classmates. Okay, so we might think, oh, it must be A. Be careful, right? Be careful of those keywords. Mainly on the basis of what they thought would help in their future career, in their first year's teaching, first teaching post. Okay, there is our second trap. Okay, be careful, really listen to the end, because what happens next? The teacher clarifies. So that's what helped you decide? Actually, it was that I came across a book, written by experienced teachers on student attitudes, and that motivated me to go for the topic. Okay, so I came across a book. C is correct. So be really careful. Make sure that you're listening to the end. Let's go ahead and mark these traps. My classmates decided their focus early on. All right. And the other trap, their first year's teaching. Okay, so really listen for the meaning. Don't just listen for keywords. Listen for the meaning. You're listening for the main reason. Listen for the main reason. Listen for the meaning. Okay, number 22. Let's see, main research question. That's what we're looking for, the research question. And we have it right here. What were your research questions or issues? So that is a signal. Okay, time to listen for number 22. Now, let's look at where our answer comes. What is the research question? Well, I wanted to look at the ways students responded to different teachers, particularly focusing on whether very strict teachers made teenagers less motivated. That's a long answer. Okay, what we need is a short paraphrase of that. So we really have to understand the meaning here. Okay? The ways students responded to different teachers and related to motivation. Strict teachers and motivation. So confidence? No, I don't see confidence here. The effect of teacher discipline, that looks to be right. Strict teachers, right? Whether very strict teachers made teenagers less motivated. So our answer here is A. And this is a pretty severe or pretty extreme paraphrase. Okay? The effect of teacher discipline. We don't have the word discipline. We don't have the word effect, right? We just have this word strict, which is related to discipline. Okay, but we definitely don't have anything about B or about C. So whereas number 21 was difficult because of traps, 22 is difficult because of paraphrasing. Okay, but both of them require you to understand the meaning, the true meaning of the listening, not just the keywords. Next, number 23. Okay, Phoebe was most surprised. We're looking for surprised, right? And it's something related to gender, girls and boys. We know that much. Okay? So the teacher says, can you briefly summarize what your most striking findings? We have the word finding here, which matches. Striking being surprising or interesting. Okay, what really amazed me was the significant gender differences. I didn't set out to focus on that, but I found that boys were much more positive about being at school. There's where we have our answer. Okay, boys were more positive about being at school. Now, do we have some matches? Or sorry, some traps. Excuse me. Yeah, so let's see if we have any traps here. Gender, okay, we have the word gender, okay, which matches here. And we also have significant, which matches here as well. So you can see 23 is difficult based on the traps, not really the paraphrasing. Okay, and C, talkative. We do have they talked a lot. Who talked a lot? In fact, it's the girls talked a lot. Okay, so boys were more talkative. No. In fact, it would be the opposite there. Okay, we do have mention of talking, though. So the more you practice, the more you start to listen for those traps. And remember, don't rely on keywords in the answer choices. Rely on the meaning. Moving on to number 24. We have regarding teaching, okay, and what has she learned? So again, we have here teaching. That's our keyword that tells us, hey, here's number 24, right? And then we're just listening for the right answer. What did she learn? I was doing a lot of observations about the way kids with very different abilities collaborate on certain tasks. Okay, let's collaborate. Help each other. I began to realize that the lessons were developing in really unexpected ways. Okay, so this is all kind of preparing us for the answer, because we have what conclusion do you draw from that? What did you learn from that? Well, I know it's necessary for teachers is to prepare lessons carefully, but it's great if they also allow lessons to go their own ways. It's great if they also allow lessons to go their own ways. All right, so this one is difficult in the same way that 22 is difficult. A is our answer. Flexible. Do we have the word flexible? No, right? We don't have the word flexible. We don't really have lesson planning either. We have the word lesson and prepare. Okay, so we have a little bit, but this is a pretty strong paraphrase. You have to really understand this meaning, and then you can find the right answer. But there's not really any traps here. Brighter children and weaker children, No, we don't have anything about that. And C, vary from each other in unpredictable ways. We see unexpected ways. Maybe that's a bit of a trap. Or at least it is proof that, keywords can be misleading. Unexpected ways, unpredictable ways. All right, let's move on. Now on to number 25. So Tony is impressed by some kind of ability. So what is this ability? Tony actually says a couple of positive things about Phoebe. Starting here, I'm really pleased to see you doing this analyzing and drawing conclusions based on data. And then I like the way you're already stepping back from the experience and thinking about what you've learned about research. All right. So let's look and see what our answer might be there. Which one of these would match? What did she do well? A, I don't really see anything about A, or I don't think this is the correct answer for A. I think the correct answer is going to be here. B, reflect on her own research experience. Where does that come from? Thinking about what you've learned about research. So you got to think right here, I like the way. That should be the key. Impressed. Why is he impressed? Because we have a lot of trap here, actually. We have small-scale research, right? And in fact, the minimized difficulties you can't see here on the script, but just be under this, right? The professor says you will find some ways next time to minimize difficulties. You're not able to see that here, but in fact, both of these keywords are used here as traps. All right, so this is a really tough one because reflect is going to mean stepping back and thinking. Right? The reason that this is so hard for multiple choice is that you really don't have time. Ideally, okay, like in a fill in the blank question, you can find the keywords like reflect, and you can also start to think about words that are similar, like think, right? Consider, maybe step back. However, in a multiple choice question, you don't have that amount of time, right? You've got time to find the keywords for like listening to the questions, the keywords in the stem, like impressed and ability, but there's not enough time to find all of these keywords and actually open your mind up to it. Okay? So this is the reason why keyword matching is really limited for multiple choice. And you can see that really clearly in this question set. All right, well, thank you guys very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. If you have any questions, do not be afraid to contact me. Bye-bye.